Hey there guys, this is Channfree, and I'm here with a very special Awesomenauts video. As you may know, a new character called Admiral Swiggins is soon to be released. What you guys may not know is that I designed the gameplay for that character. A few months ago, Ronimo had a competition for create your own characters, and I submitted Admiral Swiggins. And I'm here today to tell you, or just walk you through, how I created Admiral Swiggins. I think you guys might enjoy understanding or finding out how I came up with the character. Well, let's begin. Now, what Ronimo wanted from this competition was mainly about how the character would play out and what its skills would do, how it would synergize with the whole entire cast. But being someone of more the artistic sense or visual sense, I had to start out with how the person looked and such. So I remember going to school and doodling a bunch of little arts, as you see in front of you. There was a Shamu, which was, I was obsessed with SeaWorld for a moment, and I wanted Shamu in there, and he didn't work out. It was just a killer whale tied to a little red wagon. It was a cool idea, but I didn't know what skills I could build off with them. Then there was this guy down here called, I think I named him Steam Bowl or something. He's basically one of the things that you iron out. He's a clothing iron, kind of like a bowl character. And he was mainly, his powers are going to be something about steam and using his like head to smash people or flatten people. But with Lone Star, they already had a semi-bull character in there. So then I moved on to this character called Jackhammer, which wasn't really Jackhammer, but the thing was he had like a huge fist that had like this huge cannon or piston or something that comes out of his fist towards the back. Basically, he was inspired by, there was an enemy in Evangelion that had this move, and there's a character that isn't going to be made, but from Skullgirls, it was a design called Panzerfaust, which was how he had a tank on his fist. Basically, the idea was he would punch someone, but the thing in the back would propel the fist forward or give it more impact as he punched, and that was what I was trying to go with. And he had a taser on the other hand. But I think when I drew him, I had the idea that like I wanted that fist mechanic in there, but when I drew him, I just thought he looked kind of stupid, so I didn't go with him. Then there was this guy that I drew a little bit later called Cannonhead or something, and basically he was just like a straight up pyro guy. He would like flame the ground. He was all about like, he was like Nas Poison on crazy levels where there would be like flames everywhere. You would catch on fire, you would shoot wax, and you could light the wax on fire. It would be like a trap thing. I mean, it was pretty cool, but it wasn't as good as my final idea. Now this character, I just deemed her Bunny Samurai. I felt it was because I wanted to create a character that was fun, but also like took skill to play. So I had her. She was pretty much like a samurai bunny girl, and I wanted her to be melee as well. She had one skill, which was she would dash forward and slice everything she went through, and to do more damage you would press that button again, and she would dash back and slice it. Basically she would do it twice, like go forward and back, and it would basically do double damage. But the trade-off was you want to dash forward and dash out for damage, but you'll be right where you were before, and you couldn't catch up to the person later. Or you would dash up, which would put you close of like her auto attack range or anything else, which would be a way for you to lunge at people. Another move, this was it was inspired by, there was a character in Heroes of Newith or something back in the day. It was a turtle, and he had this move where he would go in his shell and be immune to anything for like a split second, and that was like a really hard thing to do because you had to time it really well. So she had a thing called dodge walk or like disappear or something, where she would pretty much like phase out for like a split second in place, or maybe a little bit forward. but she would phase out and she'd be immune to everything during that phase out session, which I thought was like a really skillful thing. Like bad players would use it or wouldn't know what to do with it and probably wouldn't time it well, but good players would be able to dodge like nukes, snares, anything that has like a high burst damage. They could just dodge it and just be immune, and that would make them more of a threat. But the thing is, just the problem with her is she didn't have like a punch. She didn't have like a really, like, she was a good idea, but she didn't have anything that would take her over the extra step, which comes down to, now be warned, this character, okay, well, I'm just gonna show you. Cannonhead. This character looks nothing like Admiral Swiggins. Okay, first of all, he has a cannon for a head. He doesn't have his anchor, Sweet Humboldt, and he's not a squid. He is, however, he is an admiral. Specifically made him an admiral in this one because there was already a pirate, Venus Spike and Leon, with this premium skin. Anyway, about him, his main skill was cannon shot, and it was basically like Coco and Raylan's snipe move, where it's like a long range move built to kill or something, where he would light his head and he would shoot a cannon out. Now the charge time would be long, but the projectile would move really fast and would go in a straight line, and it would do heavy amounts of damage. But the only thing is, it could be blocked. Now this move is a lot like a lot of the sniper moves from all the Dotas, Han, LOL, all those moves. Now his auto attack, which was basically, he had two weapons. He had a sword and a gun. Now I wanted to be skillful. I wanted the player to be able to make decisions on how he wanted to attack. Wanted to make the choice of, do I want to go in or do I want to do some extra damage? And that's where the idea came from, where he could slash with the sword and shoot with the pistol. So you would hold down the attack button and he would slash and then shoot and repeat again, slash and then shoot. The thing I wanted to go with was that you had to make the choice of, I want to slash to deal cleave damage or deal all damage to all the creeps, or deal a single target damage but be able to tag someone at long range. And that was the thing. So I could constantly slash by like clicking and stopping, or I could slash and then shoot. That was the idea behind that. Then there was the move called Anchor Snare. This was like one of my favorite moves to design, which was basically, I thought about like, what does an anchor do? It like holds something down with a long chain. So I was like, all right, that could be a really it wouldn't be like a normal snare. It would be an interesting snare where you would throw it at someone, it would attach to them and pull them down because it's really heavy. That's what they do. So it pulls them down. But I didn't want it just to be like a normal snare. So I allowed them to be like chained to the anchor, but they could move around to however long the chain was, but they couldn't escape it necessarily. So it would give them an option where, like, you can chain them down, but like if Raylan or someone tried to snipe them, you could still have a chance of dodging it. So it wasn't like an entirely like, oh, you're done, you can't do anything. Now, why did he change? First, I thought the sniper move, the Cannonhead, was just, it was too much like Raylan and Coco. They already had long range sniper moves, and it just felt too similar and not as different enough. So I remember started going about like, oh, then what am I gonna do? I'm gonna have to change his head to something. And I remember I was watching this show about how they found the giant squid, and actually real footage, and that had me obsessed with squids for about a week. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna incorporate a squid in here because they don't have a squid. Now my idea of a squid was kind of like where his head was a squid and he had a humanoid body attached to it. But anyway, when that changed, I knew I had to change more about him because I imagined him as being a buff admiral. I was also into One Piece. I'm still into One Piece. Whatever. So I was like, what can I do to throw him over the top a little bit? So instead, I took away the sword and the gun because I was like, well, that just seems like tiny compared to him. So I gave him a giant anchor, and I took away the pistol, and I gave him an ink spray because squids are known to spray ink as well as octopus, and all those types of animals. So I give him that, and that became the slash or squirt thing. And I actually initially wanted like the anchor to have like a shockwave to come out to show how heavy it was. But as you see in the final design, they went with more like futuristic and like lighter anchor. I would have liked it to be a little bit bigger, just saying. But then again, the design of Swiggins, it was amazing. It was a little bit different from what I had in mind. But anyway, next we had to deal with, well, with the anchor on his arm. Then anchor snare was easy. Just like, oh, well then he's actually throwing the anchor, and then came the idea where it's like, oh, if he throws his anchor, he could be faster. He could jump higher. He could do a lot more stuff with that weight lifted off the shoulders and stuff like that. Now the movement, I didn't really know what I wanted. I just knew that maybe I wanted like a double jump thing with water or ink squirting out. That was the idea, but I just kind of like said that, and they had their own take on it, which I'm completely fine with. Now the big thing that changed is cannon shot. His cannon head's not there anymore, so he's not gonna shoot an ink cannon. Maybe, but that wouldn't solve the issue where he would just be the same as Raylan and everyone else. So then I came to the idea of like, well, if he has anchor snare, and that gets rid of his anchor, how can I get the players to keep the anchor? So I had to give it something good, something useful. So I gave him anchor dive, which is pretty much you throw out your anchor, and if you hit a person or if you hit terrain, you'll fly towards it. Now there's a thing where I actually had him where if you threw it at an enemy character, you would both pull towards each other. So basically that was the idea, and because I wanted him to initiate and have a way to move in really fast or scare characters in a sense, because if you see a huge tank guy coming right at you, you're pretty scared. Unlike Clunk, if you see like Clunk in a way, he's most feared when he comes up from above. He's literally like a nuke that comes down. Scourger, he has the factor where if he hits you with a punch, you're gonna be scared because you are helpless during that time. So I want to give Admiral Swiggins a different way of giving fear and getting around places. So that's where the anchor dive came in. And I like what Ronimo did, where it pulls you right towards the enemy. Maybe it's because I'm not used to it. I'm not used to how he gets through terrain, and the way that the map is built is not that suited for Admiral Swiggins to use the anchor dive to actually traverse the map like Spider-Man or something like that. It's a bit harder, and there's only certain places you can grab. But yeah, maybe later on people will find something crazy to do with it. And that's the basics of how I came up with Admiral Swiggins. Oh, the name. The name came up, well, Admiral was there because I wanted him to be an admiral, and he's an admiral now because I deemed it so. Anyway, so I was talking about my revamp of Cannonhead with my friend Quill, and I was just like, oh, I don't know what to name him, because I hate naming people because it's so hard. It's so hard to name people. But anyway, I was like, oh, I wanted to be an admiral, and I don't know, Admiral Kraken, Admiral Squid, Admiral lots of legs. I wanted to stay away from the Pirates of the Caribbean guy, but he came up with a thing because when I was designing the story, because he was British, I wanted him to really like tea and stuff like that. They got the wrong idea and said that he really liked to drink booze, so they deemed him the name Admiral Swiggins. Like, you take a swig of something, Admiral Swiggins. And I was like, I don't know. Alright, I'll do it. And Admiral Swiggins was born from Cannonhead, which is also born from me. Okay, this is getting disgustingly weird. Anyway, that's Admiral Swiggins, or how he came to be. And I hope you guys enjoyed learning about the process of how character worked, where my mind went, you know, what I was doing. And I'll follow with showing some art of how I thought Admiral Swiggins, what I drew of Admiral Swiggins when I had that art contest. I didn't submit all of them, but my idea was a bit too realistic, so they wanted something more stylistic that fits in the Awesomenauts universe. And I believe Coffee Bean 4, the winner of the art contest, so he's my Admiral Swiggins co-creator, I guess, art design wise. He did a very good job. I was really, really impressed with what he had. Definitely not what I had in mind, but in a good way. In a way where he showed a different side of Admiral Swiggins, or a different style of him, and I really liked it. I would have wished the anchor to be huge, but I love the character either way. Alright, if you guys have any questions about the process of Admiral Swiggins, please post in the comments below. I will do my best to answer them. If you have any suggestions or critiques on the video, just don't say it sucks. But, you know, I'll take it. Try to be constructive. If not, just post something about hot dogs in your buns. Anyway, thanks for watching. My name is Channfree from Bucketcats. Bye-bye.